Y'all ready to be history?
Get started.
Welcome.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
To the Pro Audio Suite.
These guys are professional. They're motivated.
With Tech to the VO stars. George Whittam, founder of Source Elements. Robert Marshall, international audio engineer. Darren Robbo Robertson and global voice. Andrew Peters, thanks to Tribooth. Austrian Audio, making passion heard. Source Elements. George the Tech Whittam. And Robbo and AP's international demos. To find out more about us, check theproaudiosuite.com.
Line up, ladies!
Here we go.
And welcome to another Pro Audio Suite. Thanks to Austrian Audio, making passion heard, and Tribooth. Don't forget the code TRIPAP 200. That will get you $200 off your Tribooth. Now, I've been fiddling around and finding some weird shit going down in my studio when recording through the Grace M101. Some days I come in and I'm lucky to peak at minus 20, and then, like this morning when I was recording, it came in at minus 10. So I've done nothing different. I've changed no levels. I always stand pretty well at the same place, and I wouldn't have thought the microphone would be sensitive to that kind of like 12 dB just by being a couple of inches in a different spot from the microphone, but I could be wrong. Anyone got any ideas?
I would guess an analog pot, a failing analog pot, maybe. This is like click and clack.
Yeah. So when you lose one leg of a balanced fader or a balanced
that's 6
signal,
dB.
That's 6 dB,
Yeah,
right?
you lose 6.
Not 10.
Yep.
So
But maybe
I thought,
he's not calculating exactly right. You know, like
Yeah.
But would that vary and go up and down? So one day it's louder and the next day it's quieter?
Yeah, depending on the humidity or...
well, intermittent cable, like you're getting the balanced signal and then you're not getting the balanced signal. So one day it's coming through with all, like the 2 legs of the balanced signal and it's loud. And then another day the cable gets moved just enough, if it's a bad cable, that you're only getting 1 leg of the balanced signal and it's not loud.
This is a good time to talk about tip ring sleeve connector problems. The reason why like really true pro gear for road and production rarely uses 1/4-inch plugs on them. They're almost always XLR. Yeah. Because the XLR jack design is dramatically better at making a reliable contact. The area of the pin, that makes contact with the socket is dramatically better than a tip ring sleeve or any kind of a jack. The jacks only have one tiny point of contact. There's like a little metal finger, right? And it just touches the edge of the sleeve, And if that exact point builds up any corrosion, you've all of a sudden lost that signal. So that's a part of your balanced signal. And that would cause the signal to drop. But it could come back if you bump the desk or something
or you
moved.
spin the jack or something.
Yeah. So I was about to say, easy, cheap fix is you exercise your connectors. I like to joke that I'm exorcising them. But you're exercising the demons out of your jacks by twisting them around, exercising them. So just literally, some people pull in, out, in, out, in, out. That if that's your thing, go for it. But I find that twisting them side to side is just as effective, if not more so. Just twisting them, rotating them back and forth, and you're burnishing the contact on the
this is like
jack and on the plug.
Sutra.
Yes. And so
Jakasutra.
Yeah. So you'll notice that clean burnishes the contacts. And you'll probably hear, if you're monitoring the input in your cans when you're doing this, you'll probably hear static when you're doing it at that time. And if you keep twisting it back and forth till the static goes away completely, then you've done your job. You've burnished the contact. Yeah, contact cleaning spray is nice too. But you don't always have that handy, and so just a twist is a way to go. I learned a hard lesson when I had my recording truck had 1/4-inch patch bays, and all the patch bays were 1/4-inch front and rear. So there was, a lot of 1/4-inch jacks going on, like tons. And I just learned that was a really bad choice for a remote recording truck because the thing's moving around. It's in different temperatures and humidities, and those things were unreliable.
And also 1/4 inches don't grab very well.
No, they didn't have an extremely...
like you pull on that patch bay a little bit and the back of it pulls like slightly halfway out. And now you've lost a contact or some stupid thing like that.
Every time I got to a gig, I learned to reach around the back of the rack. Speaking of reaching,
Shove everything in.
and I would
Yes.
reach around and I would push every jack back into the back of the panels just to be 100% sure
Yeah.
I didn't have a bad contact. But that's where I learned. I was like, oh, that's why they have, punch down blocks and these less convenient connectors.
The worst quarter-inch design, and I'll name them, Behringer's got a patchbay, quarter-inch patchbay, and the half normaling normal, fully normal switch is on the top. And there are these little slider switches that move really easily. And so it's in a rack, and you're trying to pull this thing out, and you're trying to pull it out in such a way that you don't pull every jack out the back of it. So inevitably what you do is you put your hands behind it, and you try to push it out from the jacks behind, but you put your hands down there, and then you move every single normaling switch. And you're like,
oh my goodness.
Now.
That's bad.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even, you have to go back to your design and figure out which one went where. Worst design ever.
Well, I mean, I was asking Audient, before we hit record, I was asking Andrew if the +10 mode was engaged. So apparently I'm looking at the console, a screenshot of the Audient ID console, and I'm not seeing that +10 feature. But maybe it's the smaller ID4 or one of the other products. But I know for a fact some of the Audients have a +10 boost. So that can get in your way too. So another thing we talked about is the fact that, and this is a little bit getting in the weeds because it really only involves this interface. What's unique about the Audient ID44 and the 22 and some others they make is they have what's called a send and a return jack. And those are handy because now you can insert audio through what's called the return jack and bypass the internal preamp. So that means you have one less point of failure or another knob to fiddle with. You just go from your external preamp into return, which is also a balanced connection, by the way. And you're bypassing a whole section of the circuit.
The gain.
So you don't have to worry about, another gain knob to worry about. And so that's something we're going to send you home, Andrew, and have you report back on the next show and tell us what fixed it. A,
That's my
twisting the
homework
jacks,
for the week.
or B, connecting to the return jack.
So George, curious, are those sends half normaled?
My understanding is they're half normal.
Can you plug into the send?
So if you plug into send, it's going to interrupt the signal path to...
No, it won't interrupt. It will send it without interrupting it.
Oh, correct.
If it's
correct.
half normal.
Yes, it's half normal. What he's explaining
So it's like a Y.
is like, the send jack on the back is sort of like a splitter. So if you have a mic plugged into an input, you can plug something into the send jack that you want to send audio to. Now, I used to use these occasionally as a phone patch.
Like a direct
patch
out.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to send the mic preamp out to a phone hybrid or an ISDN box or something else you have to send the audio to. Kind of handy.
I'll give you the funny trick. So the same send return when it's TRS, so all on one jack instead of separate send returns.
Yeah, that's a different thing we're describing. Yep.
Right. But with the old Mackies, I think they reversed the send and the return so that you could purposely plug the 1/4-inch jack halfway in, not break the signal, and get a direct out.
Yeah, that's right. I remember setting that up for people. Another cool hack with those insert jacks on the Mackie boards is my dad helped me build these little mic mute, speaker mute boxes. And so they had 1/4-inch cable that went into the insert, and then they had a pair of 1/4-inch ins and outs for the monitor's amp. So between the input and the output to the speakers. And so when you flick the switch in one position, the monitors were muted, but the signal would pass through the send return jack. You flick the switch and it would cut the signal to the microphone, cutting off your mic, and turn on the speakers. Does that remind you of anything? Radio broadcast people?
A few things, maybe. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, he did that with an insert jack, or how did he?
Yeah. I still have a couple of these boxes laying around.
I will actually have to listen to our episode again and listen to that again to follow that because I was not totally following that. But.
So just to really quickly summarize, there's a 1/4-inch, the back of the box my dad would make has 5 1/4-inch jacks. One of them is strictly for the insert jack, and the other 2 are ins and outs for the left and right monitor speakers. So it goes between the monitor output of the mixer, or the control room out, as they call them on the Mackie, to your speakers or your amps. And then your insert cable, which is a standard tip ring sleeve 1/4 inch balanced cable, goes to the other jack.
It's an unbalanced insert cable.
It's tricky.
Right?
It's technically unbalanced.
Yeah.
The cable is a balanced cable, but it's doing two jobs, sending audio to and from the jack. It's a weird thing. And so all you're doing is breaking the connection between one set of jacks and the other, depending on which position the switch is in. And that way you never have to worry about your microphone feeding back with your monitor speakers. So whenever your mic is on, the monitors are off, and vice versa. So it was just a handy tool, and it's what they use in radio station consoles all the time, where the jock, hits their on button and the big giant speakers shut off the second they start talking.
Mm-hmm.
That's a common.
So the switch was picking between the tip and the sleeve. Is that what it was switching
I don't
between?
remember what electronically was going on, but it was just breaking the connection. So if you broke the connection between the return, the signal wouldn't return back into the board, and so it wouldn't pass a signal. It was just dead.
Yeah, it wouldn't go to the speakers.
Yep. So that was a fun little project. Talk about a tangent.
And talk about a niche topic as well, because the fact that I've got these external preamps running through an ID44 is kind of weird and kind of niche. And
you're just lucky, aren't you, really? Let's be honest.
Kind of niche.
Well, Andrew, the other thing you can try is see if you get the same problem with a different preamp. So the whole thing with troubleshooting is always to pick a point and change something and see if the problem happens to the left or right of where you change something. So if you change the preamp and you still get that gain problem changing, or, one day it's -10, the other day it's +20, or whatever the difference is, then the problem is not your preamp and it's everything after the preamp. So you've ruled out your microphone and you've ruled out the preamp. Or if you use a different preamp and you still have the same problem, then the problem is probably your microphone, because it happened with a different preamp, and therefore it's nothing from the preamp after. So that's called binary reduction, and it's really
I didn't know
great
it was
way to
called
troubleshoot.
binary reduction.
Yeah.
Good to know. I just called it process elimination, but you only want to change one
it's officially
variable at a
called-
time. That's the really crucial thing. If you don't
Right.
change one component at a time.
But change something in the middle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, if you change something in the middle, you've eliminated, you've now isolated to half the thing. If you start at the beginning, you have to do all the variables. But if you start in the middle, then you only have to do half of them on the next test. And then if you split that in half, you only have to do half of those in the next test. So if you keep on splitting it in the middle, you'll speed up your troubleshooting.
Beautiful. Oh, well, that's my week sorted then.
That's a good one. That's stuff you learn the hard way if you're working in big studios with thousands of connectors.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. When there's like 8 million points in between, you're like, which one of these 80 is it? I'm going to pick point number 40. Now I'll know if it's point 1 to 40 or 40 to 80. Instead of starting at 1 and going through everything linearly.
Interesting. Good point. Hope that helps some.
Well, that's interesting, because the reason with the ID44 that I went for TRS was because if I'd gone XLR, then I'd be go back to what I was getting at. I thought if I use an XLR into the ID44, I'd be using the internal preamp, hence went for the DI. With the TRS, the preamp still works, which is kind of annoying, because I was hoping I was bypassing it. But if I go into the return on channels 1 and 2,
right, it's so interesting. Each company has a different.
Yeah, if it's the line and it's still hitting that preamp.
Yeah, each company has a different opinion on how to do that. Like the Apogee Duet, weirdly didn't do it that way, and it made me scratch my head more than one time when I plugged in a 1/4 inch, thinking that was the line in, and that was not the line in. It was the guitar or instrument in.
Oh, it was the low Z in.
Yeah, you had to use the XLR as the line in, and then there was a setting in the software, inside their console that would switch it. No, it was like literally not just a pad. I don't think. Well, maybe it was, but it would switch modes, and then it was a line input. But it was not logical to me at all. And make matters worse, I rigged up a piece of gear for somebody a couple weeks ago that's an audio video capture device, and it had 2 mic inputs, XLR and 1/4 inch. They were reversed. The XLR was line in, the 1/4 inch was the mic in.
Oh.
And I was like,
Is
Who in the
phantom
hell
powering
designed
out a
this thing?
1/4 inch? It was sending
Yes.
phantom power out a 1/4 inch. That's definitely
No,
odd.
it didn't have phantom power. Didn't even have phantom power.
Oh,
So.
Yeah, that speaks to the level of gear.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
that's the problem with video gear that adds audio, right? And it's made for corporate users. So it was like a $1,500 piece of gear. It was expensive,
Jesus,
and yet
that's
it had
crazy.
those two reversed and no phantom power. So we still had to use a Rodecaster mixer to get give it a proper mic input. It was a crazy discovery that I did not think to read the manual because you sort of assume.
I mean, these days, phantom power is like kind of assumed for.
You can buy a $30 USB interface with phantom power, but this $1,500 device with 2 mic inputs had no phantom power. It's just bizarre to me. And so never assume, and if in doubt, RT.
That just makes you want to go back to the design meeting for that one.
Yeah, RTFM, read the freaking manual.
What's that? What's the manual? Sorry, is that like a car you drive, a manual? Is that
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's got a dog leg. The dog leg is called no phantom power.
Yeah, exactly.
Cute.
That dog leg is cocked in the air.
Well, that was fun. Is it over?
The Pro Audio Suite with thanks to Tribooth and Austrian Audio. Recorded using Source Connect. Edited by Andrew Peters and mixed by Robbo. Got your own audio issues? Just ask Robbo.com. With tech support from George the Tech Whittam. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and join in the conversation on our Facebook group. To leave a comment, suggest a topic, or just say g'day, drop us a note at our website, proaudiosuite.com.